What's up everyone, Lethal Concept here, and I guess this is the first time you guys will be seeing me with a webcam. I actually plan to use the webcam for future sessions and future gameplays, and I guess this, why not just start now? This is going to be my platinum character tier list that I've been planning on creating after finishing my A to Z playthrough for platinum and gold. I may do a gold one, but I feel like, you know, obviously most of the weapons are viable on gold, most of the weapons are viable, and characters are viable on gold. They don't really need a tier list, it's just really to show which one's slightly stronger than the rest. So I thought I'll create a platinum character tier list. I probably will create a platinum weapon tier list once I maybe get a bit more experience with a couple of weapons that I'm not quite sure of where they are on platinum, but I think I talked too much. Also, I don't like just labeling characters like obviously Angarian Avenger is S tier, but I don't like why is he S tier? Like, is he S tier in strength or survivability? Is he S tier because he does a lot of damage or helps the team a lot? So actually, when I do my character tier list, I'm gonna create a graph like this on the screen. Basically, I categorized their capabilities. So you got offensive, support, and survivability, and under each category, I listed like 3 major components. So for offensive, you got weapon damage, power damage, and cooldowns, how fast you can use the cooldowns. Support, you got enemy debuffing, team support, so like shield boost, and combo potential staggers. So something like the Asari Huntress has a lot of combo potential, and with staggers, it's basically like you stagger a lot on something like Singularity with Shockwave, but you may not stagger a lot with other combos. So I put that there because I feel like stagger is a lot of CC they can do with characters as well. Basically, most combos will stagger. It's just to categorize if you have a lot of combo potential. Survivability, I got defensive, so that's like damage reduction. Health and shields, pretty basic, and movement. And I think movement plays quite a large scale of survivabilities, which I don't think a lot of people touch onto. So let me just bring up a paint and let me just quickly show you what I mean. Can I just make this? No, that's kind of really small. There we go. So let's say you're running from this cover and there's this cover, right? And you're backed up here. You're backed up here. And so what you want to do is you want to move this to this cover and go in this direction and just be here because you're getting fired on from this direction. So with humans and I think Krogans, you have a normal dash distance, right? So what happens is a normal dash distance, let's say, dashes you to here. What you have, and then you get exposed here, right? Because you get exposed for like a fraction of a second before you're able to dash again or jump and dash into cover. Now for Asaris, however, if you do a quick jump and a dash, Asaris have a much longer dash, so they can fully dash and land into cover without that split second that you're here. Man, this graph is horrible, but I hope you get what I mean. So movement plays a lot because it can negate the travel time, and that means you can get to cover faster, but it can also be a bad thing as well. So if you got a shorter cover, can I just get rid of everything? No, not like that. But let's say you have a shorter cover, obviously with Asaris, if you dash too long, you're gonna have to walk all the way back. But if you have Fortify, your dash won't be as long, and like Krogans have short dash, you can actually just quickly hop or dash into cover. So movement plays, I think, quite a significant amount into survivability. Obviously not as much, but I think it's worth noting. So I'm not actually going to do this graph live, I'll just do this afterwards, but I will write down like the values here. So obviously for the first character, let's just go into it because I've been talking too long. Human Soldier. So, oh my god, I hate this no spacing thing. So, Human Soldier. So obviously, let's get the template out. We got offensive, defensive. This is going to be a long video, guys, and obviously, what was it? Oh, I should add in a last one. I should add in a 13, and this will be difficulty. Some people might like to know. Oh, this min-max value. Basically, let's say there's a couple builds for each character, right? I'd like to say the general rule is there's going to be 3 builds. One on the opposite spectrum, one on the other spectrum, and one kind of in the middle that has a bit of both. So let's say this has 4, so let's say 3 and 0. So this, wait, label my data correctly. Oh, I think I need to make rule 0 here, so that there's actual values for that. So this will actually show you if you go one way, you could have a bit more weapon damage, but if you go the other way, you'd have a bit less. So that's just basically what that variant is there for. So this will be the kind of explanation for my graph data. There we go. Data, please. Let me just get rid of that min-max value there. And actually start the video. And obviously we got... what was it? Right, what was it? Defensive? Support and survivability. Support. What? It's defensive and survivability. Did I write defensive? Because I think I used that for my survivability, didn't I? Yes, oh, that's defense. Alright, that's right. And difficulty. And obviously, for each of those, we have weapon, power, cooldowns. I should have done this off screen, I'm sorry. This is going to be a long video. You can skip this. I'll probably put timestamps in the video in the description below for you guys. And defense, health, oh, that's survivability. Health and shield, and movement. No, yeah, that isn't survivability. Just ignore that. Nothing there. Defensive debuff. Should I actually relabel this as support? Maybe that should be better. I should probably, yeah, I'll relabel this as a support. So team work, because I don't want to write team support because I already have support there. I'll just label it as team support and combo potential slash stagger. And difficulty. There we go. There we got the basis now. Anyways, with the human soldier, like with any general shooter game, right? I can actually make it smaller because I'm gonna have it's gonna be really big. The soldier is the de facto weapons character, and yeah, this is basically true. Actually, this video I will probably go over the overviews of each character's playstyle in explaining this. So this is a character slash overview playstyle tier list basically. So yeah, human soldier, you got turbo. I'm not gonna go over the skills, by the way. If you really want to go look at the skills, it's better to look at some of the guides like that I've created to see the in-depth skills. But yeah, turbocharge, shoot faster, do more damage. You got my kind of rank bonuses, so you can get an idea of what the skill does here if you're new to the game. So yeah, gun damage, clip damage, raid fire, gun force. You're the de facto biggest weapon platform character you can have. So obviously you're going to get full marks. Now there is going to be some variance, and I'm going to say variance here. You can actually drop down to I think 4 will be a fair score. There's two, so the two main play styles. Okay, so let's just go over. Let's just say each character play style, and then we go into the stats, which are basically down here. So play style first. Standard build, turbocharge maxed or near maxed, and then you got, that's your single target damage, right? Then you got frag grenades for AoE damage. You got all your passes boosting up your damage capabilities. And you may want to use concussive for repeat concussive, so you can have an extra utility base to do extra combo damage, which is what I've got. Now, the other end, which is something that I also created, which some people may like using, it's like an alternative build, is kind of the indirect fire build that I was talking a bit earlier. So what you do is you max frag, and you max concussive, and you leave turbocharge at 1 or a couple points. Now what this does is, concussive with anti-army is super strong. It's 100% damage, and with concussive that equals like a lot once you get up to an extra plus 50% direct damage force, and you get over like near 2k damage per hit. And with your equipment, where's the equipment? Here, load out. In equipment with grenade capacity. Why am I using thermal clip storage? It should be grenade. Oh, that's right. I was using it for to see if I could turn the Hurricane into a sniper rifle. But yeah, grenade capacity. You got so many of those. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna constantly be detonating, constantly have heaps of frags, and then when you use your kind of ammo capacity consumable, you're gonna have those back instantly, and you just keep turbocharge at 1 point. And what this means is you still have it for the free reload, still have it for a bit of extra fire rate and a bit of extra kind of damage on your main weapon, which is what I use, the Scorpion. And I've used this build on my first Platinum run. It wasn't the best, because obviously my first Platinum run ever, but yeah, it was pretty fun. It was really fun. So you could have a variance depending on if you max turbocharge. Most people obviously will, so obviously the main is the 10. Now I actually think power damage is pretty significant. I think it's actually a 10 as well. And the reason is, you got frags for AoE and they do a lot of damage. Now, there is some difficulty in aiming this because they actually bounce back and they're the only friendly explosive that will actually hit your character. Sticky grenades won't. Venom shotgun rounds won't. Falcon shots won't. Scorpion shots won't. Naladine explosions won't. Frag grenades will hit your own character if you aim it wrong. And so, hey, you know, having radius, it could be a bad thing because obviously there's less room for error. If you're throwing it at your feet to bounce at an enemy in front of you, it can hit you. So that's going to obviously up your difficulty, which I'll go into a bit later on. And I think power's pretty right. Power cell abilities are really strong, so you can use them in succession, clear out groups. So power's definitely 10. Now cooldown's a bit iffy. Cooldown on turbocharge is 8 seconds. That's actually, well, 15 seconds. That's actually pretty alright, but you have to keep in mind that your duration is actually 8. So what this means is pretty much from when you start using it, why am I using a calculator for that? It's just 23 seconds. So basically you have 23 seconds between each turbocharge used, because 8 seconds of that is your turbocharge using it, right? So it's fairly long, but it's balanced out by using concussive on single targets and frags for multiple enemies. Excuse me. So cooldowns, it's not bad, but it's not good as well, because turbocharge is your main ability. So I actually give it a 7.5. God. That's not what I wanted to do. Maybe I should disable the Discord overlay. Anyways, support debuffing. You have no debuffing except sustained fire, so sorry, excuse me. Precision, I like precision because I use a Raptor and it's very accurate with turbocharge, so I can get lots and lots of headshots. Like 90 to 80% of my shots with Raptors can be headshots if I'm really trying, and that's a large amount of damage. So sustained fire, you can have a bit of debuffing. So I'm gonna actually write 0, but you're gonna have a bit of variance depending on your build. With I'll give it 3, might even be 3.5 to be honest. You know what? I am actually going to go into Discord. To disable my overlay. There we go, and I'll do it when I get back in. Yeah, there we go. Now, team support, you don't have a lot of support for team usage. Nah, you got nothing. 0. You don't have anything. You don't really have anything. Combo potential staggers, you actually have a lot. Frag grenades can actually stagger, and believe it or not, turbocharge can stagger with that gun force bonus. They can stagger. Concussive shot, why do I have this here? Concussive shot obviously is huge because it can knock down, right? And that's a combo. Maybe I should rename this as a crowd control. Combo potential crowd control. Well, that's basically what it means. You have a lot with that, so I actually think it's might even be a 7.5. Now, I say this because you're not going to use frag grenades just for the stagger. Like, if you see one berserker, you're not going to use the frag grenade just to stagger it. Or if you see just one raider, you may not use concussive shot because you just may want to kill it outright. So it depends on your playstyle. The potential is there. I actually think the defense of this character is actually pretty high. I actually think it's 8, and the reason I say that is because you got not wrong passive. Defensive positioning. You got damage resistance in cover. Oh, regen delay. Should I add that as that? Okay, I'll keep that as in defense. Damage resistance in cover 50. Regen delay in cover 100%. This is pretty huge for keeping your shields and health topped up. And if I can do this maybe in the middle. Anyways, Now this is basically a free Fortify at rank 1. Fortifies 40 damage resistance at rank 1, I think. And also, you don't have a movement speed penalty, and while this is more toggleable, because you have to be in cover, but you pretty much almost always are in cover unless you're doing objectives as a stealth character, right? You also have the option to go hold the line for the low health damage resistance, and there's been multiple times where I'm like rushing through doorways and I'm getting shot, right? And that low health damage resistance, when I'm moving through doorways and I'm going next to the wall, I'm getting over 250 damage resistance. Damage resistance, and that keeps me alive, so that potential is really there. It's huge. It might have been bigger, it might have been 8.5. Health and shields. I actually think the health and shields on this character is pretty beefy. 760 health, 385 shields. To compare this against one of the healthiest characters in this game, which is the Krogan Gladiator, 1k, wait, wrong one. There's a Krogan that actually has 1k health. 1k health, almost 500 shields. I think the Turian Havoc has a bit more shields, 600 shields. So it's okay, it's pretty healthy, but not the healthiest character, obviously. I'll give this character a solid 7. It's either 7 or 7.5. I haven't fully decided. I feel like 7's a fair score. Movement, average, 5. Nothing super. I don't think he has any movement speed increases in his. Any movement speed increases on his passive. Also, he has a normal range dash. I'm gonna edit those out. Yep, editing those out unless I'm lazy. Nah, I'm not lazy. Difficulty. So difficulty would be interesting because clear-cut character. Difficulty is going to be a bit increased from aiming grenades. Also, if you're playing an indirect fire build, the difficulty will go up because you need to know how to bounce grenades on the environment to hit enemies that are in cover. Also, so I will say it's a 4. It's not super hard, you just need to be aiming. You need to have good aim, but that's pretty much all characters, right? You also need to know how to aim and bounce grenades and how do you say it? Cook grenades. So yeah, not really anything super special there. But there is one thing I wanted to note. This character, I think, is S tier, but I think it has the potential to go beyond if you use Disruptor ammo. Fast firing weapon, turbocharged Disruptor ammo, you're going to be priming things very, very fast. And to top it off, you got a self detonator with concussive shot that has a lot of uses with grenade capacity and power cells, basically. So with I think the character is in general S tier, goes into S plus with Disruptor for detonations. So you got Disruptor plus fast firing weapon and concussive to detonate. Because this character has a lot of characters pretty much go above and beyond when you pair them with a fast firing weapon with Disruptor ammo. Their exponential goes higher basically. And Human Soldier is one of them. Male Vanguard, interesting. Excuse me. Oh, wait, jeez. Is that a way that I can... Does that make a line? Yes, it does. Cool. Obviously, these are not relevant to this character. I am going to redo them. Now, offensive for weapon. You do have Apex Training, which is one of the good weapons. But Powers of Melee is better than 8% weapon damage in my opinion. So most people will probably pick that. And then obviously you don't have any weapon bonuses at rank 5. And you got the last one, which gives you 10% weapon damage. Which is okay, but it could be better. So weapons mainly are going to be for more filler. So filler by I mean by maybe you do charge, do a bit of damage with weapon, then Nova, do a bit of damage with weapon, and do Shockwave, do a bit of damage with weapon, then you start your cycle over again. Weapon's not your main focus, but you have kind of the basis there with Apex Training, so I think it's a 6.5. Powers, I think Power damage, I think, is pretty good. I think it's... Now, by power damage, I do mean both power cells and power damage as in powers with cooldowns. So, I think it's actually 8.5. And now, I lowered the score for a couple of reasons. You're gonna probably max Barret, you're probably gonna max Apex Training. So this means you're either gonna max 2 of your 3 powers, or you're gonna go with a bit of like 4, something like that. So that means you're not making the full use, because rank 6 of those powers are really good. Bashing's really good, Seismic Nova's really good, Lifting Shockwave's really good for priming and all that stuff in CC. So obviously you're gonna be limited unless you're running like basically no Barret, which is bad because shields restored, melee damage, saving Barret is really good, Apex Training for weapon damage and power damage is really good as well. So yeah, actually you could probably run an Apex, you could probably run a full 3 power, no Apex Training. What do I lose here? I would lose 35% power damage, combo damage as well, which is pretty big. So yeah, you do lose a lot, which is why I said it's lower than 10 basically. You do have a lot of potential with your charge, which is pretty short cooldown of 6, Nova, which gives you iframes, so, and staggers and AoE priming, so it's a lot, it's really good there, but you're limited because you're probably picking the 2 passives. Cooldowns, I think it's actually better than the Human Soldier. It's actually 8.5, I would say. The cooldowns from Nova does drag it down, but once again, remember, you're staggering everything, you're also knocking down standard enemies, so like 3 dogs for platinum. I am talking about platinum, by the way. So like groups of dogs, breaches, and also you're gonna be staggering shielded enemies as well. And you can also detonate them with Shockwave. You have the self detonator, so it's really good there. Cooldowns, I think it's a solid 8.5. Debuffing, now believe it or not, I don't think it actually has any debuffing. No, it doesn't have any debuffing. Full 0. Team support. Now you might think staggering is team support, but staggering is once again down here. Staggering is 5. I feel it's a 5 or a 6. Now I say this because once again you do have the potential, but you're not going to be using Nova just for the sake. Like if you see a group of enemies, you stagger. You may want to save it for having your iframes. You may want to save charge for having your iframes. So you're not going to be using charge to stagger or Nova specifically just for stagger. You're going to be using them for various abilities, so that may limit your staggering abilities. And also, Nova is going to be your main stagger ability, quote unquote stagger ability, because it's large AoE. Charge is going to be for your iframes and refilling up your shields. So you only really have 1 AoE stagger, and it's on a 12-second cooldown. So it's good. I would actually say it's 6.5. Actually, now thinking about that. But it's not super good. You're not going to have a super stagger. Oh, but actually, do you have Shockwave? What's cooldown on Shockwave? 12. Shockwave staggers, by the way, if you did not know. Okay, I'll rephrase that. I did not take into account Shockwave because Shockwave's on point. I dismissed it, which I shouldn't have done. So it's actually pretty decent. Combo potential is actually pretty good as well. I actually think I might revise this. It's between, I'd say it's between 6.5 and 8. Depending on how you play him. Survivability. I actually think this guy has like 9.5 survivability. He doesn't do a lot of damage with weapons. Powers, he's okay. But, okay, I forgot to do what tier he is. B+. On Platinum, remember this is on Platinum by the way. His defense is really good, because you got iframes on 2 abilities, you got staggers, I'm taking into account multiple things. You got iframes, you got shield recharge, you got 75 damage resistance, and you got saving barrier. It may be 10, but again, he doesn't have over, I think he doesn't have over 700 health like the Human Soldier does. He only has 500 and 500 health, 400 shields, so it's a bit low. That does bring the score down a bit, but you are constantly refilling up your shields, and you probably bringing a Cyclonic mod. I am not going to take into account the two, because I shouldn't do that, because then it becomes a lot of variance. Health and shields are actually going to be a bit lower, in my opinion. Actually, we're going to put this down to 9. Movement, I actually think his movement's really good. Now with movement, charge I will count as a movement ability, and obviously with a 6-second cooldown you can go to places really quick, and it's just in general really good. You also got the jump nova. So basically if you land you can actually nova down instead of just landing down, and you got the iframes keeping you alive, stagger everything around you. So yes, it's really good there. You got charge from movement ability. I think it really bumps up having a very short cooldown and all the bonuses as well. Difficulty on platinum, it's gonna be hard to make this guy work. I won't say it's hard. 7.5 to 8. I really shouldn't put a dash, should I? We'll go in between. We'll go to like the middle route of 7. Let's go 7. Now, the reason I say he's a bit difficult to play is combos aren't as strong on platinum. Having stagger is good, but if you can just kill them outright before they come towards you, you don't need the stagger. He's very survivable though, with the iframes, with charge and detonation and staggers, but he's not dealing a lot of damage. He doesn't have a lot of debuff, he doesn't have a lot of team support, so he's survivable. But look at it this way, if you're surviving a lot, if you're like jumping around in an area, surviving a lot, using your staggers, using abilities, everything's going to start going to pile up, and then damage will start building up to the point where you can't actually just keep surviving. You actually have to kill stuff. So you're either relying on your team or you're relying on yourself, and you're not going to be killing stuff very fast. Offensive. Well yeah, basically. So I don't think there's a lot of extra notes here that I really need to do. So let's move on. I don't like this. Let me just move that down. I don't like that being up there. Turian Soldier. Wait, I forgot to delete that. No, I'm sorry. I'm busy. Oh, well, we'll just put the letter there. So, Human Engineer. Oh boy, does this character get a lot of flack. Thinking. Yeah, I actually think he's B+ tier. Okay, so offensive, he's not very good offensive, alright? Okay, I'm not going to take into account if you use something like Scorpion Siphon or the really good weapons. I'm taking into account whether he has passives to help, he has powers to help, stuff like that. So his offensive is okay. Now I actually think his offensive is slightly better, very slightly better than a Human Vanguard. Or on par, slightly better or on par. And the reason I say that is, if you're running an overload spec build with a lot of recharge, which is what I kind of do, Assault Turret, recharge, Omni-Link, get rank 3 for recharge. Stunning them gives you a lot of headshot potential, which doubles or even triples your damage, basically depending on what your weapon you're using. So obviously some weapons have time to multiply, so you can get a lot of headshot potential there, and obviously you're debuffing them as well. Debuff's another story. Power is actually really good. For overload, Cryo Beam is situational, which does bring the score down because you can't use it on every enemy ever. Obviously you don't want to stand in the open just cryo beaming everything. It's actually not that bad, but it's not super good. Or Assault Turret does still fairly easily for its use. Cooldown, I'd say the cooldown's actually fairly good on this guy, especially when you take into account you can go Omni-Link and run a spec like that. I actually think the cooldown's pretty fair on 8.5 as well. I would even argue it might be even higher. The reason I say this is because you can actually proc Snap Freeze with cryo ammo, fast firing weapon. The detonation, that is, without actually having to use cryo beam. So it's basically an infinite cryo beam use in regards to that. Overload does take a bit of time because you're not using the recharge, so that means if your assault turret does recharge, speed for overload does go down since you don't have the Omni-Link. If you're running a build like mine where you go via Omni-Link to buff up cryo beam and overload recharge speeds, because this one's only 25%, this one's 35%, so it's larger. So which is why I did that. You don't get a lot out of the EMPs because power damage are nerfed on platinum, so I'm using it for the extra stun and the headshot potential when they do this, go through the stun animation. Cooldowns, pretty good. Debuff, very good. Actually, I think it's an 8.5. You got 2 debuffs. You got Elemental Tech, which is really good for a lot of people using ammo weapons, ammo priming weapons, and remnant type weapons like Shadow, Paw, Equalizer, which are fairly good weapons in Platinum. I actually think it's 9 actually. And the reason I say that is Tech Sabotage, damage debuff 30%. Really good. And you're constantly using it whether with Overload. I think it's really good. But it's either 8.5 or 9. We'll leave it at 9. I'll actually go down to 8.5. Team support. You don't have a lot of team support in terms of buffing them up or like energy drain, restore shield boost, stuff like that. You could do some really wonky thing like tactical revive, give your allies damage resistance and yourself. But I really do think their health and shields is just better plain overall. So you could. I'm not going to take this into account. I don't think anyone would want to run that over health and shields and platinum in general. So I am going to leave that as support. Combat potential is big. It's huge. Like 9. I was about to say 9.5, but I think 9 is the fair use considering that it's still 11 seconds. I'm not going to bring up. I could just go to my recharge time, calculating recharge speed. It's going to be like 9 seconds ish with overload. So, I mean, with Omnilinks, it's roughly something like that. I'm not going to do that. But yeah, I think 9's solid. It has a lot of combat potential, especially because he's going to be. You're probably most likely using cryo ammo for snap freeze, which self detonates once you kill it. Survivability. He has a lot of health, but he has no damage reduction unless you obviously go the tactical revive, but no one almost does that. He has 0 defense. No, I lied. He has 3 from his turret. Turret drawing aggro means shots on the turret, not shots on him. Has a very low score basically. Health and shields are actually decent. What I give the human soldier is what I probably should give to the human engineer, because he does have quite a bit of health and shields. 700 health, almost 400 shields, almost the same as a human soldier on shields. Same health, different shields. Oh, well, a bit low. Tiny bit low. I'm just still going to leave it at 7. I can't be bothered writing a 6.5 or a 6.8, something like that, and just keep it like a 0.5 or a full number. Movement, average, movement. Difficulty for platinum, I think he has a higher, much higher difficulty curve than the engineer. What do I have the engineer? God damn it. I mean, Vanguard. God. No, not caps lock. Vanguard. Yeah. Well, difficult. Quite difficult to play. Might even just be a 9, I think. Just a solid 9. Because while you do have a lot of debuffing, you have no damage resistance, because everything just hurts. Gotta remember to just change all this. Even Adept. I think it's a tier. I think it's a solid A, to be honest. Not gonna lie, solid A. Now, weapons, you don't have any increasing weapons unless you go Biotic Warrior. That's right, one of those. I do actually go Biotic. 15% weapon damage is better than the 10% you get from Apex Training, I think it was, that I talked about earlier. But obviously using powers first, you have to. And that's the only weapon damage increase you're getting. So I actually think it's a 5. Obviously, can you slap on a hurricane like me, disrupt the ammo, and it goes up. But that's in the extra note. That's what the extra notes are for. Obviously, this we'll just keep going for now. We'll keep going for now. I'll talk about it later. I'll just insert it into the beginning and talk about it there. Powers are very good. I actually really enjoy the powers in this guy. Figures, yeah, 8.5. Vanguard is 8.5. 8.5. So Gladiator is good for picking up multiple doggies. You still got pull for a single radar sitting there, basically. And it's very short cooldown as well. 5 seconds, 8 seconds, sorry. And it's gonna be better with like stuff like expert or power efficiency. Shockwave is very good, I reckon. Shockwave is really good for detonating just in general, also recharge time is not the double digits like 10 seconds, so this can go down really quickly with power efficiency and stuff like that. Cooldowns are good, it's solid. I think this is solid. Maybe be 9 to be honest. We'll leave it at 8. Debuffing. Now he does have exposure, which is 20% extra damage, but it's just 20%. There's a couple of characters that can do up to 40% or even more. So debuffing is that. I'd say it's a solid 7. Maybe even like 6.5. No, team support. I think Stagger's 9 is a good one as well. Yeah, definitely 9. Team support. Well, should I take into account that you can suspend so much stuff, stagger so much stuff, but that would probably be this in here instead. I think he has a lot of team support. Nah. I'll leave. Maybe we'll go with our original. So health and shields first. Now this shields can get even more once you get into barrow with unyielding and biotic link. Let's just calculate a rough number. Sorry if you're hearing that, but my nose is a bit stuffy, so you're gonna have to excuse me. That's what, 70%, 1.7 times. This is just a rough number. This is not the real calculation. Like, this is just a rough number. 672. That's quite a large amount of shields. You also got, I think the defense is quite better. I'd say it's either 6.5 or 7. Health and shields is quite respectable. Once you get your powers going, movement is still 5. Difficulty, while not 9, it is something like 7, I would say. Jumps to A+ here with fast firing plus that ammo. This obviously enables biotic plus just tech combos, which are very useful since you can stun anything with disruptor ammo, berserkers, sharpshooters, dogs, non-boss mobs basically. It's really good. Human Engineer. Human Engineer. Alright, this will be a lot easier to read once I actually do the thing. This is just for the graph. What you see is this, and this will be, I'll just say it when I actually go to it. I'll cut it into the video in the beginning, basically. So weapons, I actually think he has a lot of potential. You've got Barricade for weapon feedback, plus 15% damage, weapon training, you got all the nice bonuses for weapons. I actually think his weapon potential is pretty high. Obviously not as high for something like a Turian Soldier or an Infiltrator, but actually pretty decent. I'll say 7.5, maybe be 8. But obviously one of them requires use of Barricade. He'll be 8 if you're constantly using Barricade for just the weapon damage, which is what I don't use. I do strategically place Barricade, so it's in 7.5. Go. Powers I think is really good. Like, and look at the injury cooldown, 9. Throw cooldown, 8. It syncs really well for that tech combo. Barricade obviously has the capacity to stop all enemies coming rushing towards you. So I say the power potential is actually really good. 8.5 might be a really good indicator. Could be bigger. I think 8's fair. I think 8 is fair. For both power and cooldowns, I think 8 is a fair number to actually throw. Support, debuffing. I don't think he has a lot of debuff. He doesn't have debuff. He doesn't have any debuffs. Now team support, he does have Team Drain, but he also has Barricade, which actually enables his allies to gain that weapon feedback. So he actually has quite a solid score in my opinion. 8.5 is pretty good solid. He has a lot of combo potential. I think he has a lot of combo potential. He has a lot of combo potential. Barricade, Energy Drain, Throw, both being detonators. They can detonate off Barricade. Then you got Energy Drain to throw for long range. Yeah, he's very good. His defense is quite high because Tech Armor gives him 65 damage resistance constantly. And then you got the extra shield regeneration, shield delay after being hit, which is what I have. You could go reactive armor. I don't go reactive armor because I don't use melee, and the power and defense I don't really care about. I do like the shield regeneration because I do use Energy Drain to top up my shields. But yeah, that's basically it. You could go either one. I just feel like the benefits of these two, basically it's the benefits of one versus two benefits, so I just prefer having both benefits. Since I don't use melee, I feel that benefit's wasted, so that's basically why I do that. Why do I have 6.5 on my Adept? Alright, saving barrier. This guy, I feel like he's solid. Health and shields are kind of low, I think. Yeah, he's less than 300 shields. To draw a comparison, yeah, I'm actually against the human Adept. He has even less than the human Adept on shields wise, I think. 260 versus 395. I mean, it lowers the score a little bit. Doesn't have the best shields, doesn't have the best health, but it's still decent. Movement's 5, I think that's fair. I think the difficulty on this character is not as hard as it seems. I think the difficulty is low, to be honest. I'd still say, okay, it's 5. Barricade can not deploy if you place it next to walls, so you do need to position it properly, but other than that, get in the cover, shoot stuff. When your shields are low, energy drain to the throat, stun, you make use of barricade. It's not that hard. I don't consider it that hard. Next, Human Infiltrator. God freaking damn it. I'm sorry if the name is... Let me just do a quick freaking check, right? To see if I do that. Sentinel, Adept, Engineer, Vanguard, Soldier. Good. God, is this like... It must be like a while now. Must have been a while since I started this video. I wonder how long I took. Weapons now. You're gonna have quite up there weapons with tactical cloak munitions training. It's quite strong. I'd say turbocharge is better just for pure straight up firefights, but this guy, you're still pretty strong. Sticker grenades very good. So you could run one combat fitness on Platinum. I've done that before and it's worked. And run double powers, and you obviously got powers as well. Some power damage up here. Could do that. I think it's a solid 8.5 to be honest. Cooldowns now, depending on which route you can go, you can obviously have recharge and escape artist, but if you're using tactical cloak for say damage, if you use combat cloak, recharge time is a fair bit, unless you're breaking cloak early with escape artist, which is what I do. But that's kind of like a variance thing. Maybe I should just get rid of the variance. Let me just get rid of the variance overall. Let me just get rid of the variance. I'm not really making use of that variance thing. Am I? I'm not. Not really talking about the character's playstyle overall. So maybe I'll just scrap that. Anyways, I'm just mainly focusing on the character tier list. So let's go back. Warrior powers. I mean, it's very strong in power damage, right? With sticking grenades. I'd say an 8. You're not really focusing on just powers. So cooldowns, I think it's a bit lower, 7, because if you go through the full duration of tactical cloak, it's gonna be like 10 plus seconds. Incinerate 12 seconds since you don't really upgrade it. So yeah, it's a 7, I'd say. Debuffing, I don't think he has anything debuffing except sustained fire. So I think it's a 3. Team support. Pretty much guaranteed reses and guaranteed devices are really good. So I actually think he has a lot given that combat potential, I don't think he has a lot of combat potential. He has like nothing, unless you count Incinerate. If you count Incinerate, it's like a 3. Defense. Cloak dodge, also tactical cloak, will keep this character alive for quite a bit. I think he also has a decent amount of health and shields as well. Yeah, he does. Surprisingly. Sniper has over 400 health, which is, 400 shield, which is, I think, one of the highest base shields for basic characters, I think. Yeah, it's on par with the soldier. Quite decent. I'm actually going to think this character's movement is going to be an A. Cloak dodge dropping aggro will mean a lot for your survivability, basically. It's not going to be a difficult character to play. It's like 3.5. As long as you can aim, you can do well, basically. As long as you can aim, you can do well. Not much to note. Character is S tier. I did put tier for Asari Sentinel, didn't I? Yes, I did. Next up is the Turian Soldier. I'm actually going to take a bit of a break since I've been recording videos before this, so I'm going to take a break here and then restart off in a bit. And we are back, so I feel freshened up, so let's just carry on without further delay. So next will be the Turian Soldier, so we're just going to do this. Turian Soldier. Now, interesting position, the Turian Soldier. So obviously it's jostling for the best firepower position against the Human Soldier. But I feel the Human Soldier has a lot more potential, especially with the concussive shot, with the detonation potential. And while Turian Soldier is a bit more defensive and you do have frags, you don't have as much detonation potential, and you don't have that way to just constantly knock down unshielded targets like dogs or raiders or any other of those. So it loses a bit there in trade-off of having a bit more defensive. So I actually prefer the Human Soldier than the Turian Soldier. It's just personal preference. So whatever the Human Soldier has, I think the Turian Soldier has maybe a bit less. So like I would say A minus. I would say A. It's not super good, but it's not super bad. I honestly think the character has a bit less potential than the Human Soldier. Obviously, let's go over the... It's still... Okay, also another thing I did is I reformatted all the rankings into out of 5, difficulties out of 10, because I feel like that shows the scale a bit better. So I just did all of these out of 5 instead of out of 10, and difficulty is out of 10 as it says here. With offensive, with weapons, you're still the weapons platform. Don't ask me why I put turbochargers at one point. Oh, that's what I was testing out, the explosive purge double build. But yeah, turbocharge is still... I think it'll be a 4. No, it'll be 4. It's on par since you have max turbocharge and you've still got munitions training. Power damage, I'll actually rank it lower because you only got frags, and while frags are really good, it's just frags, so I'll actually rank it at 3.5. I'll actually make... Sorry, but I'm going to actually have to rank it at 3. Frag grenades are great, but you're probably not going to be using something like grenade capacity just for frag grenades. So you're just going to have grenade capacity at 4 because you're probably going to be a more munitions or weapons based platform because you don't have 2 power cell based abilities. So, and you probably put some points in 4 to 5. So yeah, cooldowns. I don't think cooldowns really matter in this class. So we're just going to be looking at the base turbocharge. So instead of using that turbocharge, I'm only going to use a Human Soldier turbocharge to just put points in here and use this. So if you're using a fast firing weapon with a lot of ammo, you'd probably be going with duration. These two don't matter, and basically I'm not going to go too much, we'll just confirm. So let's look at the recharge time of the turbocharge with that. It's about 18 seconds with 12 seconds duration. So that's quite a long time, but the spammability of grenades does mean it raises it up. So I won't say it's really bad, but your main power is probably 3, to be honest. For debuffing, I don't think, unless you want to go sustained fire, which is possible again. So again, we'll put 3 here. Team support, you don't really have anything team support oriented, but you do have quite so it depends if you go fortify explosive Persia as well, because that is obviously really good for stunning, basically, seeing enemies. I will say it's 3.5 then. Survivability is definitely up there. I'm pretty sure he has a large health. He has 760 health, 424 shields. While not the largest amount, but you can get a large amount of damage reduction with fortify and defensive positioning, hold the line. So I definitely think he scores top notch in defense. My first 5, I think. On health and shields, I think he does deserve a 4, but on movement, however, you are penalized quite a bit. You are penalized quite a bit with fortify. Basically, extra notes. I don't know if I should keep these extra notes. I don't think there's a lot to extra note. It's just basically which characters get a lot of punch from using disruptor ammo and fast firing weapons. Basically. Let's go with the Krogan Vanguard now. Ooh, this guy. I don't think he's that good. I mean, he's decent, but he's like I think he's 1 less than the Vanguard. So I'd say he's about C. So out of my rankings, I should have done this beforehand. I'm sorry. It's going to be S, A, B, C, and D. So obviously B is going to be average characters, and C and D. I think there's only one or two D characters that I would have in mind as of right now. But yeah, Krogan Vanguard, it is iffy to work with if you're playing the traditional charge with the melee spec, which is what I tried. It didn't work as well. So let's go back into it. Weapons, you do have Apex training, but if you want to spread out your points, and I do really like the extra 30 damage reduction because it pretty much doubles your damage resistance almost. It's really good, but yeah, I don't know. This does mean I'm pulling points out of Apex training, so I actually think the weapons capacity, it's there, it's possible, but not as good as some classes, so I'm going to put it as 3. Powers, you do have Charge and Nova, which are pretty standardly good, so I will say 3. And Recharge, I actually think it's decent. It's on par with the Human Vanguard. So what I put it with the Human Vanguard for? I think that does count. I don't think it has any debuffing on this sustained, but I know Nova does lift, but it's not debuffing, so it doesn't count as debuffing. Team support, 0. Combo potential and stagger, it's pretty high with Charge and Nova, and you also got the option to go just skip Apex trading and go with explosive per, so the potential is quite there. Defense, now what's the health and shields? Quite a large amount of health and shields, to be honest. I think it is quite deserving of 4. So while the Turian Agent has less health and more shields, you're just balancing it out with more health and less shield, so it balances it out. So I think it does deserve a 4. Movement is actually going to be less. I think it's going to be like 1.5 because you are a Krogan with a Krogan with Fortify. I honestly choose not to use it, obviously, but I think it's about 2. We'll say 2. Defense, range, you do get 50 damage resistance for 2 seconds after killing something, and you do get a lot of max health, and obviously you can refresh your health when you stop fights because of your extra regeneration that you get from rage. Pretty much the health regeneration when rage to 100%. So you do get a lot of defense, but I don't feel it's on par because you're not counting on that health regeneration. You're just using that for the damage resistance, and for that damage resistance you actually need to kill a lot of small stuff first, or like 2 or 3 basically. You do get a bit of damage resistance, so it will total to 65 after you kill something. You do have a large radius with the 15 minute. Oh, you do get allied damage resistance. Okay, sorry, That's actually raises the score. 30 damage resistance is actually not bad, but out of a 5 scale, I'll rate it a maybe 2.5. Completely forgot about it. I should have remembered. That was completely my bad. It doesn't stack. If you didn't know, these two don't stack. I think the defense will be a solid 3.5. Extra notes again, not that really useful. Krogan Engineer. Krogan Engineer. I think it's a B, to be honest. I actually really enjoyed it. Like, he has more shields than the Krogan Vanguard. No damage reduction, granted. But where do I put the human engineer? I think. Okay, this is what I feel. I feel the Krogan Engineer is better than the human engineer. Hands down. Hands down. Alright, I'm gonna have to change that because I actually do think the Krogan Engineer is better than the human engineer, and it's because of Incinerate. And Incinerate, I feel, is better than Crybeam. Well, for a few, why is this moved over? For some reasons, and those Crybeam is better than Incinerate if you're going up against armor targets, but most of the time you're leaving those armor targets till the very end, right? You may destroy the turrets, or you may destroy the missile system, but you're not fully killing the boss mobs at Platinum. What Incinerate allows you to do is deal with all the other smaller small troublesome mobs like saboteurs. Once you strip the shields with overload, they will start going to the burning animation, which allows you to kill them easier because they're CC'd. So it allows you to kill the small stuff quickly, which allows you to deal the boss mobs at the end better. So you don't have a lot of weapon potential, but if you remember my playstyle, god damn it, I don't like that freaking space. It's just a ACD thing. Like having that space there. There we go. Yeah, you have a lot of potential to use a weapon. You don't have a lot of weapons passives. Oh no, you do have elemental tech. This can bump your weapon because I use disruptor ammo. Extra benefit to damage and playstyle. I do use a Revenant. I did use a Revenant with Disruptor. You obviously want a fast firing weapon with a ammo to take use of elemental tech. I use Disruptor because once I stun with Overload, I can strip the shields if Overload doesn't strip it, because it normally doesn't. With Disruptor, it still primes because it's Disruptor ammo. And then you detonate with Incinerate, and this causes the enemy to stay in the burning animation after they've gone through the stun animation of Disruptor / Overload. And it detonates, causes a detonation, which leaves the tech field, which is very useful as well. So I'd say it's a bit better than the Vanguard. You got a lot of stunning potential, you got elemental tech, but it's not like fully good, right? It's pretty decent. I'd say the combo potential is actually 4. Cooldown is, how long is Incinerate? It's 10 seconds. I'd say it's okay. Debuffing. Now, I do say debuffing it would be a 3. Yeah, debuffing is 3 basically. Debuffing will be at 3. Team support. You don't have a lot of team support. I could say, no, that's a debuff. That's not team support. I don't think he has tactical revive either. No, he does have inspirational though. He does have inspirational. Okay, and I do use inspirational. Combat potential stagger is definitely, I'd say it's actually 4.5. Because it also, Overload and Incinerate are ranged, right? So you don't actually need to be right up to them to actually use it. So I actually think it's 4.5. Survivability, it has a lot of health and shields, not a lot of defense. But it does have assault turret to actually soak up some damage, so I say it's about 3. Health and shields, pretty healthy in shields. Movement is better because it doesn't have fortify. Difficulty. What about the difficulty on Krogan Vanguard? Stupid nose. So the Krogan Vanguard would be a lot harder. Krogan Engineer is pretty. It's either a 3.5 or a 3. I'm gonna say 3.5 because it also, if you're just running around doing nothing, you're not really a benefit to the team. So I'm just gonna leave it like that. Just leave it like that. Asari Sentinel. Asari Sentinel. I actually think the Asari Sentinel is really good. I'm not even joking, I think the Asari Sentinel is really good. Okay, so let's go with weapons now. You actually do have quite a bit of options, so you could obviously go with damage aftermath if you choose to max backlash, but I do not recommend it for platinum. You got 20% gun damage, you just tap it, leave it, and you get the damage. Or you could go with the extra 15% weapon damage, which I don't do, but I should, but I really do like having that extra 35% health, and the recharge speed is very nice. So what you do is, because of energy drain, its recharge is 9, its recharge on throws 4, and you're gonna have, I'm using Biotic Expert with Uxia, and I'm probably gonna use power efficiency. What you can do is energy drain, throw, have a high powered single shot weapon or a couple shot weapons like the Uxia to snipe the headshots and damage, or snipe the weak points on that target, and that means your weapon's pretty beefy up. That's the playstyle I use, and I really enjoy it. I would say it's under the Human Soldier and the Human Infiltrator, but it's very strong as well. I really enjoy it, to be honest. I don't feel it's 3.5, but I also feel I'd say it's 3.5 actually. Power is definitely up there. Cooldown's definitely up there. Well, not power damage, energy drain into well, you do it so often though. Debuffing, I don't think you debuff. You don't have anything to debuff. You do have power efficiency, weapons and melee, and just tech armor. So debuffing is actually 0. You don't debuff. Combo staggered ventral is actually huge. I'd say it's 5, to be honest. You're doing this so often, and if you choose to run a fast firing weapon with disruptor ammo, then you can just do throw, because throw is on 4-second cooldown, and it does quite a bit of damage with swift detonation, and obviously it's easier to get ranked tier 10 for that power damage, combo damage, which it's really helpful in platinum. Team support, energy drain on a 9-second cooldown, I'd say it's a 3.5. Good. Defense is definitely up there with, it's really good because you got energy drain for shields and you take armor, which just makes you take less damage basically. I don't think she has a lot of health and shields, if I remember. She has 450 health, 485 health, 260 shields, so basically half of a Krogan Engineer. While she does have a lot of defense, her health and shields are quite lacking, so I'm gonna have to bump her score down. Excuse me, I'm gonna be making a lot of those noises, sorry, because I'm a little bit sick. Movement, though, she has great movement, so especially because of the way soft lock on works, you can actually dash above. If you see an anointed on the edge, you can actually shoot energy drain into the throw, and because they're not channeled abilities, it just helps you move along, because you can stun that, start dashing again, and that guy will be stunned, and everything around that guy will be stunned from the tech field. It's really good in my opinion. Like, her movement's solid. In fact, I actually think it's 4.5. Difficulty, I actually don't think she's very difficult to play. She's quite clear cut, but I guess I should bump it up a bit because her low health and shields means you will be kiting a lot, and that may be a bit more difficult. And we get into the Infiltrator, the Salarian Infiltrator. I think he's S tier, and I'll show you in a bit. So you obviously got, you got technical synergy, right? This is huge. 30% damage, weapon damage bonus for 5 seconds after using a power, and they change it so sticky grenades apply, tactical cloak apply, energy drain applies, which is why I got this weird like kind of build where I got 5, 5, 5, 6, 5. Well, I'm going to assume that I used 5, the amount of 5s. So I used grenade capacity, tactical cloak for duration for objectives, energy drain because extended drain for shields, since I'm not using escape artist, and then support systems for the extra health and shields. And this makes it so that I have a lot of variety to proc technical synergy, and his weapon damage is huge. 30%. It's pretty much 30% constant weapon damage, and that's on top of having tactical cloak. That's a large amount, and I actually think I'm almost tempted to give him full points, to be honest, because of technical synergy. It's just really good. Power, you do have sticky grenades, energy drain, and I actually rate sticky grenades over frag grenades because they stick. They can hit enemies reliably out of cover, because if you throw it out of the side to hit the enemy in cover, it can actually bounce away and the enemy might vault over or anything. So it's just more reliable. It doesn't hit you as well. So what did I put with power damage for Turian Soldier, for example? It will have a higher soldier than Turian Soldier, power 3. So yeah, let's say it's a solid 4. Cooldowns, I think the cooldowns are pretty decent on this character. Recharge 9 seconds, recharge 8 seconds. It's okay. I'd say it's 3. I really want to put 3.75, but that just looks so awkward and so weird. So it's between 3.5 and 4. I am going to go 3.5. Debuffing. I think you do have a bit of debuffing in. Do you? You don't have any debuffing. No, you don't have any debuffing. No debuffing at all. Team support. You can actually expect to have team drain, which is one thing. You could also have. Do you have anything else? No. But you can expect to have that team drain, and that is. The potential is there. The combo potential stagger. It's definitely not 5. You do have 1 with extended drain to prime, which is what I did, but some people might not go that far, because obviously other 2 skills are really good. Sticky grenades can stagger, but I feel like if you're gonna max all 3, then you're gonna be obviously taking points out of somewhere else, and all the other points are so good because you need the health. You really want that technical synergy, so it's kind of hard to make it work. Defense, yeah, I think it's a 4. You got tactical cloak, you got energy drain, and you got the dodge, health and shields. I don't think he's high on health and shields. Oh, it's actually quite decent. Actually, better than the Asari Sentinel. Health and shields actually better than the Asari Sentinel. It's like 604 out of 400. It's actually okay. It's not as high. Would I put the Krogan Engineer? 3.5, I'm guessing. Yeah, this character deserves 3.5. Movement, I think it's up there. You obviously got the dodge cloak. And you got cloak as well, so it's really good. The difficulty to play, not that hard to be honest. No. Might actually bump his score down. I don't think he's going to be that hard to play. Pretty clear cutter. Clear cookie cutter with tactical cloak. Sorry. Why am I talking about? Oh no, I don't like this. Fine, you can go all the way bottom. Asari Adept. Asari Adept. Now, believe it or not, I think it's A+. Of course, this is my opinion. May not be yours, but this is my opinion. Asari Adept. I really like her. Weapon damage. I don't think she does have weapon damage here, so we can't ignore that. And obviously Annihilation provides quite a bit of damage increase with a damage attractor, and I think it's exposure, so we can't ignore it, but it's not super good, so it's 3.5. Powers are really good, however, throw 4-second cooldown. Lance, while it does have 10-second cooldown, it's a filler ability. Annihilation is always on, so powers pretty much, I'd say pretty much 5 actually. This is one of the best power sets, double detonated with Annihilation Field on a character that can move really far with dashes. It's really good. Cooldowns are up there as well. Oh, actually, it's that Lance cooldown that drags down. You really want to put points into the other abilities, so you don't really have a lot to put into Lance. and there's not a lot of recharge speed available for Lance. It's just got 10%, which is going to put it down to 9 base. So I actually put it down to 4. Debuffing, huge. Exposure, wait. Not that one. Damage attractor 20%, exposure 20%, really good. Team support. Now, you don't actually have team support in terms of energy drain and shield boost, but if you like me and you like to go vortex enemies and you stay near your team, dogs can't get your enemies, and I think that warrants some mention, because I definitely like vortex over shield, whatever it's called, shield draining field on vortex, because you're gonna be in close to get those detonations off. You really want, and you're gonna be in close to get that exposure off. So what you do is dogs can't get you, breaches can't get you, and then this allows you to deal with shielded enemies a lot easier, because you're gonna detonate them once with a throw for energy drain or annihilation, and then that'll stagger them, and then you start pelting them with a weapon, which is what I have, Equalizer, which does extra damage against shields. They get unshielded, and then they start floating from the vortex, which makes anointed observers, sharpshooters be dealt with a lot more easier. Combo potential is actually 5, honestly. It's really good. Actually, you do have a bit of risk, so I will put it down with 5. Team support. Pretty good. Defense, you don't have a lot of defense. In melee, you got a lot of defense with Annihilation, but I mean, you do have some with Saving Barrier. I'll actually say 3.5. Health and shields, I think she has one of the lowest health and shields. Well, let's compare it. She has a slightly more shields than Asari Sentinel, but Asari Sentinel has the Where's my Asari Sentinel, guys? Asari Sentinel has the 2.5. That's fair, actually. It's 2.5. And movement's obviously going to be pretty freaking up there for the Asari. Difficulty 4.5, because low health, low shields. You need to learn how to weave your combos, and you need to learn how to dash, the dash range, the movement. You also need to learn how to dash from cover to cover, because you can actually clip on edges. And you need to learn when to get a GTFO, because you're quite squishy without your saving barrier, because you can just get one shot since you have low health and shields, and you got no damage resistance pretty much. So that's the rate that I'll give it to. Next up, we got the Krogan Mercenary at the start of the res. Krogan Mercenary. Mercenary. S plus tier. Actually, it's between S and S plus. Like, if there was a tier between S and S plus, that's where the Krogan Mercenary will be. But because I don't want to just make a whole bunch of like in between tiers, I'm just gonna leave it as S plus. So you got munitions training, you got flamethrower, fortify, flat cannon, munitions training, and range. Your weapons are actually going to be quite strong, and the reason I say that is because flak will stun them, allowing you to deal a lot of damage with your munitions training's weapon. Basically, it's quite strong, but obviously it's not like 40% damage increase from cloak or something, or turbocharge good, right? But it's still pretty decent. Your powers are going to be, I'm going to say 5, because flamethrower is really good for armor targets. I'm sorry, I'm busy. With reach and anti-armor, it's going to be very good. Damage over time, like 330 damage over time is really good. I'll reply to that off the thing. Sorry. Anyways, let's see. Flak cannon's really good again, because damage over time with flamethrower means it's like 500. Or it's even more than 500 if you take into account boosters, which can increase your damage on powers. Right? It's really good. So let's go back. Cooldowns, though, I don't think cooldowns are very problematic for this Flak's power cell. Flamethrower is pretty good. You can tap it once to get just the burn, which is really good, or you can keep using it. So I'll actually say it's 4. It's actually 4. Debuff, you can actually go with blinding heat, you do have the potential to limit damage output of enemies by 50%. No one will do that in Platinum because you really want the anti-armor. The potential for debuffing is there, but it's not huge. It's there. It's there. It's not huge. Team support. You don't have a lot of team support. Staggers. I'd say it's 5 to be honest. Flat cannon's so good. You got 9 flat cannons, alright. With stun, and this stun berserkers reliably. This stuns everything, and you can stun observers reliably if you got the right technique, which is what I went into a bit further with my Batarian Scrapper gold video. I taught you how to use the aiming on flat cannons on observers, so I actually think it's really good. Not the combo potential. Oh, you do have combo potential with the flamethrower, but the staggers really puts him right up there. Defense, fortify with rage. Really solid. The health, he has the highest health in the game at 1.1k. 500 shields is really high. You do have some characters that have more that have 600 shields, but at 1.1k health really puts them up there. Movement with fortify, however, is going to be a bit more suffering. I won't say he's easy, but I won't say he's hard to play. He's like in the middle, right? I'd say 3. 3 is pretty good, to be honest. 3s are pretty good. No, I do not like it when this happens. I'm gonna have to do this. I don't know. It's just the OCD thing. Okay. Turian Havoc Trooper. A+. So I did say this will be a playstyle video, but I keep going just focusing, explaining everything that I haven't gone into the playstyles as much. But there are 2 ways to play this character. Obviously one is the complete hover, where you get like huge damage resistance, you got extra hover, and you get just extra damage resistance and huge hover kill potential. Chaining kills to keep you in the air. But I 100% prefer plus 25% max health shields, plus 25 max health shields, and you still get some damage resistance in hover, and you get 100 damage resistance when invading. Now this puts him on par with health and shields on Krogan Mercenary. You got 200 more shields than the Krogan Mercenary, 200 less health, roughly, than the Krogan Mercenary. So it kind of evens out. So he's really beefy in terms of health and shields. So yeah, you do have turbocharge. So I will say the weapon is 5 because you got turbocharged with munitions training. The potential is there. Powers, flat cannon's really good. Incinerates is okay-ish. So I'll actually put that as 4. 4 is actually decent, I think, for cooldowns. I do have recharge 10 of 10, but flak obviously is power cell, so it's really good. Debuff, you could go sustained fire. I don't. So the potential is there. Team support, no. Staggers, I reckon 5 as well. Defense, you got some defense when dodging, 100 damage resistance while dodging, cause dive bomb is useless for almost every Turian Havoc Soldier build on Platinum, unless you're planning on running a weird janky jump melee build, which is honestly stupid. So it's kind of there, but not really there. I'd say 1.5. I mean, 100 damage resistance while evading is okay. It's on the verge of becoming 2, but I don't feel it's quite 2. I'm going to leave these health and shields at 5. Really good health and shields. I'm going to say his movement is actually 3 because he can hover a bit, which I guess pushes his score slightly above. Now here's the thing. If you have something like a sewn siphon, the aerial build 100% can work. Sorry, excuse me. It can work. But there will be times where maybe you're doing an objective, you're raising someone, you got hack or upload, or basically you're camping because there's like 5 observers shooting at you, where if you go in the air, you are going to take so much punishment that your damage resistance and your fast firing siphon ability, or weapon is what I should say, won't keep you topped up. You'll take too much damage. And when you're on the ground, hover, aerial engagement don't mean anything to you. But when you're in the air, your health and shields still help. When you're on the ground, your health and shields still help, and you still got a bit of damage resistance while evading and airborne, which help when you're on the ground or in the air, because dive form doesn't matter to both builds. So I really think that is better than the full aerial build than is what most people play. So let's go on to our next character, which is the Asari Huntress. Asari Huntress. S tier. Easily. Not easily, but I won't say she actually. I don't want to say she's S tier for a couple of reasons. Some people are gonna. So many people are probably gonna hate me for this, but let me explain first. So, offensive biotics, we just got power damage and some weapon damage, and like you got some weapon damage after using a power. But say you're going up against a berserker, you can't prime him unless you go with a fast firing weapon with disruptor ammo, right? But that will mean you're not going to be putting up. You may not put up a point with the cyclonic mod because you want to use a weapon. So you got a couple routes, right, with consumables. Disruptor ammo, fast firing weapon, makes use of your double detonators. That means you got one more slot, cyclonic mod, or you're gonna put a weapon mod. Now, fast firing weapons are okay in damage, but you really want at least like silver or gold to make it actually feel like you're killing stuff sufficiently fast against armor targets, because you're using disruptor ammo. So the most common pairing will be disruptor plus an amp, weapon amp. That means you'll be using a cyclonic mod, or if you're using a cyclonic mod and disruptor ammo, you're not going to be using a weapon amp. So I don't know. It's just that she limits her viability in that kind of way. She does have some weapon damage, but it's not a lot. Her powers, while Stealth Grid is really good, Throw and Lance are only going to work on targets that are unshielded and unarmored. This won't prime armored or shielded targets, so you're going to have to strip shields with your weapon. I'd say it's 3.5. Cooldowns, it's definitely up there. It's definitely up there though. I'd say it's almost 5. Debuffing, I don't think she has any debuffing. No, she doesn't have any debuffing. Team support, well, Stealth Grid. Combo stagger potential is, I think it's 4.5. Because she doesn't have her own primer, she has double detonators, and those double detonators are really short cooldown. Throws really short. Lance is spammable to a certain degree because it's fast, it's instantaneous as well, so that has its going for it. So her not having her own primer, her not having a primer that works on shield and arm targets unless she sacrifices something, and her kind of own combo, which is throw into Lance, which can be a combo, works only on armored not on armored targets, on unshielded, unarmored, standard sized enemies, basically. So that cuts her down from the S tier into an A+ tier, in my opinion. She doesn't have any reliable way of dealing with armored and shielded targets unless you're just stealth gridding, weaponing, basically. By weaponing, I mean damage. The defense is real high. Dodge, long range dodge, stealth grid, and also the mini cloak dodge makes her defense pretty high, but no damage resistance. Oh, actually, I think it's definitely it's 45. You got saving barrier. I forgot about that. Health and shields, I think it's low. I think it's about the same as the Asari Adept, roughly. Yeah, roughly. Asari Adept is a 2.5. I'd say it's 3, to be honest. Movement is really good. I actually think she has one of the best. I'm gonna bump this character up to a 4 because, as again, no primer. You need to watch out for when stuff are primed. You need to watch your allies for stealth grid. You need to know to do objectives. So yeah, basically. Let's go to the next one, which is the Angarian Insurgent. Angarian Insurgent. This is an S-class character. Weapon, you do have a weapon boost which gives your allies and you 20% weapon damage increase when you shield boost. So I think the potential is there. 3.5 is actually fair, to be honest. Power damage or powers. Trip mine's really good, shield boost is really good for 4.5. Cooldowns, I think shield boost is 11 seconds, yeah, 11 seconds. Trip mine's spammable, so I actually will drop this down to 4. Not 44. Yes, they'll be fine. Oh my god. Not like that line break. Debuff. Yeah. Do I have a lot? Oh, you stunned though. I don't think you have anything else that capacity evasion by electric ward. Anti-armor. Excuse me for drinking water. You do have the stun. But that's in the stagger, so you got no debuff. Your team support is definitely up there. You got the stun, you got the shield boost. It's really good. Combo potential, it's not reliable. It's not reliable. You're using the trip mines mainly for the stun, so I wouldn't say it's a reliable combo stagger. Defense, she does have shield boost. He or she does have a shield boost. And does have bioelectric ward and does have evasion. I do opt to pick up 60 damage resistance while evading over regeneration. So I think the defense is actually 5, to be honest. Yep. I do feel his health and shields are pretty high up there. I wasn't at 700 or 600. 700 to 335 shields. Definitely high. Movement ability, while not the best, I think it's actually quite fair and quite decent because I do pick up the extra damage resistance while evading, which means I do get 15% movement speed, and I do get, it just makes my movement a bit better. I won't say he's hard to play, he's definitely not hard to play. 3.5. I think it's fair to say it's 3.5. Salarian Architect. You remember when I said there are a couple characters that I think are D tier? This is unfortunately one of them. Salarian Architect is one of them that I think is D tier. Now, I do choose to max out all his abilities, which means I don't get Elemental Tech. Because I do want a reliable on-demand detonator. I do want Electric Defense, it's so good. Remnant VI is obviously his... Like, every character has a... What's a word for it? The star skill, right? Remnant is the star skill of Salarian Architect, like Turbocharge, Cloak. Or Turbocharge is for Soldier, as Cloak is to Infiltrator. Remnant is to Salarian Architect. So I went ahead and maxed that. But it does mean you're not using Elemental Tech, which means your weapon damage is a bit lower. But he does have some potential, especially with Barricade, Weapon Feedback, and Elemental Tech. So I'll put it as 3. Powers... it's definitely not 4.5 or 4. Powers are good, don't get me wrong. Powers are good. Barricade's good, but Incinerate, 9 seconds for your on-demand detonator when like you got throw-in and characters have double detonators, it just makes it feel bad. Remnant's not reliable. Okay, so time you spent mashing your button, like maybe you don't mash, but sometimes I press it once or twice, right? That's time you're not spending shooting or looking where to go or like helping your allies and stuff, right? So I really don't like the idea that it takes like that fraction of a second to command the remnant to shoot at something. Your remnant VI should automatically recognize what's primed and try and detonate that with missiles. That's what I feel would be better. Cooldowns, again, I think it's 3.5. Debuff. You do have the potential. You do have the potential to have it. I just don't think it's really that good. Team support 0. I don't think support system. I'm not going to use tactical revive ever. So no, team support is 0. Combo potential stagger, it's actually up there. Barricade's really good. Incinerate, while it does detonate, you can actually detonate something that's been detonated by Incinerate for a fire combo. Remnant VI has a potential to stack. Detonating missiles stagger as well. when I did the test video over this, to test detonating missiles versus electric beam, it can detonate, it can stagger. So that will help there. Next up we have defense. Not a lot, to be honest. Not good. You don't have any defense. You could argue that barricade with electric defense counts. You got, I put some points because Remnant VR, okay, I think it's 2.5. I think it has a little bit of, Remnant VR is is almost 3k health. That's a lot of health to tank up, right? So I think it has some potential. Health and shields, let's check this guy's health and shields. Nah. It's actually pretty up there. It's not the best, but his movement I'd say is average, 2.5. Difficulty on platinum, oh this guy notches up there. You're gonna be working basically. You're gonna be working if you want to try and make this guy work on plat. God damn it. Next character will be Turian Agent, or my favorite character. Let's go. Weapon. I actually think this guy's 5, and the reason I say that is, if you play him like I do, Max Recon Visor, Tactical Cloak, Apex Training, and you got 100% cover penetration, because shotguns, there are some weapons that, okay, almost every weapon needs barrel, or will want barrel. There's some weapons that have penetrator mod that you don't need the magazine upgrade because you pick it up with somewhere else, like I use thermal clip storage. And then you got penetrator, and then you got 50% penetration, cover penetration from your weapon, 50% from recon. You can shoot through walls. That makes your weapon extremely good. Powers. If you go on my build, I think it's actually 3. It's not. It's okay. But flamethrower by itself is not going to be super good. Recharge speeds on these aren't bad. I'll leave it at 3.5. You have debuffing potential, right? You have the potential to debuff with blinding heat and what was it? Tech sabotage. So you do get up to 80%. So the debuffing potential is there. Team support. You do have the revives. You do have the guaranteed revives if you have Tactical Cloak off cooldown as of that moment. So I will say 3.5. It's almost at 4. It's almost at 4. Now combo potential stagger. Flamethrower will stagger all unshielded enemies on base. But that's it. Yeah, that's it, to be honest. That's really it, to be honest. Defense with, I think it's actually 4. You don't have any damage reduction, but you can stagger like groups of 3 dogs. You got cloak. You got the mini cloak dodge, and you can see where things are with recon visors, so you can like go around where there have a lot of enemies and stuff. I think he's quite. Yeah, he's quite up there. I'd say he's got 4. Movement. Difficulty. Not difficult. You just gotta have good aim, and that goes without. And it goes to any character, so I'm not gonna make him difficult just for that. Batarian Scrapper. S+. How many S+ characters do I have? Well, not like I'm gonna see anything like that. Jesus. Anyways. Oh, this character is a beast. Munitions training and snap freeze with anti-armor makes his weapons hit hard. Cool powers, I think, are really good as well. Concussive, flak, snap freeze is on like a 10-second cooldown. Yes, really good. These 2 are power cells, and you're going to be wanting to run grenade capacity, and you can get so many of these. You can get up to 15 of flak, and I think like 13 or 12 of them concussive. Super strong. Cooldowns 4. The only thing weighing it down is a 10-second of snap freeze debuffing. 5. Team support. 0. Stagger potential 5. Flak for anything armored or shielded. Anything unshielded, you got heaps of concussives, and I actually did manage to pick up radius, so one of those would just stagger all those groups of 3 to 4 dogs, so it's really good. Defense, you do have combat fitness for defensive positioning, so I won't say it's 3, I won't say it's 4, sorry, I'll say it's 3, it's, I'll actually say it's 3. I say he has a lot of health and shields. He has a lot of health and shields, alright. 800. That's like it's near. It's as healthy as this guy. 100 less shields. I'd say his health. I want to actually put a Turian Havoc. Do I put 4 or 4.5 for Turian Havoc? Turian Havoc 5. 4.5. Wait, that's not the Batarian Scrapper. Movement. If you know how to do jump flak to make it safe or jump concussive, it makes his movement a lot better. I'd say it's 3.5. I won't say it's difficult to play, but requiring to aim flak when to use snap freeze, I'd say it's about 3-ish. I'd say. Ultra rares. This video is going to be so long. Holy hell. Sorry. Oh wait, let me guess. I'm gonna have to do another page for this. Okay, so first off, I only have these characters at certain ranks. Asari Duelist at what's that? 7, 12, 9, 11, 5, none. So I don't have the XX plus power damage, plus combo damage, plus melee damage, which can really push the character into a decent category, which is what I feel like the Asari. Can I just get rid of that taskbar? Which can really help some characters like the Asari Duelist, right? So I can only give my feedback on this character. What should I do? Okay. I'm going to assume, from my experience and from my knowledge, that what I'm placing these characters, I'm placing them at XX. Or what I can do is, I'll place them Asari Duelist. This is for VII. Is it's actually quite interesting. She's between C and D. I'm not sure if I want to place her at either. I think it's about C even. But at XX, I reckon she'd be B. Not joking. Not joking. Weapons. Let's go into weapons. She does have a potential with Bionic Warrior. And that's it. Obviously, you could go with Backlash and go with Damage Aftermath, but oh well, Damage Aftermath is actually pretty large, 20%, along with 15% is quite high. So yeah, powers, you're only gonna be charged. Backlash isn't that useful. Lance isn't that useful. But it is charged. Go 3.5 cooldowns. She has quite short cooldowns overall, so I think 4 is fair. Debuffing, she doesn't have any debuffing or team support. Potential stagger, I'd say it's 3.5. Yeah, that's about right. She does have some defense with saving barrier and the 7.5 damage reduction on Bastion, so I will say this is 4. Her health and shields are low though, really low. I'm gonna have to bump this down to 3. Movement as an Asari, I think 3.5 is fair. While she does have the long range dash, she doesn't have the mini dash cloak or stealth grid. She only has a long range dash, which is 3.5 is fair. She's quite hard to make work. Does gets exponentially better with XX ranks. Full veteran rank and poor with disruptor. So if you watch my video, I use poor with disruptor, and this can work. So I use poor for something that I don't want to charge at. Poor, prime, lance, finish off with poor. For something that I can charge at, poor, charge, detonates, stuns, melee to finish off. I just felt that I really wanted a bit more damage on my powers, a bit more damage on my melee and my detonations, which is what those veteran ranks provide. So basically that's the reason why I say it's possible to go up to B, which is average on platinum if you have those XX ranks. And play the playstyle that I played, which, yeah, it can work, but obviously, yeah, it's average. Angarian Avenger, nice to see you here. This is one of the characters I don't really need to go into XX ranks to actually talk about. Avenger, S+. You have weapon training. Don't count that out. Yeah, while I do go with Avenger Strike, you do have weapons training, so your weapons training is pretty decent. Power damage has to be 5. Cooldowns has to be 5 because you got 2 power cells, and Avenger Strike can be up to recharge 9 seconds, so yeah, that's definitely good. Debuffing, you don't have any debuffing. Nope, you just kill stuff. Team support. Bioelectric Ward is really good. 80 damage resistance, really good. Combo damage. Oh, that's actually a lot higher. That's actually going to be a lot higher because you have Stealth Grid as well. Forgot to take that into account. Combo potential and stagger. You don't have a lot of combo potential. No, I lied. You have debuffing. Flash Strike, 85% damage, and you got that. You do have a lot of debuffing if you run Disrupting Strike. Obviously, these two scores will counteract each other because if you put points into Avenger Strike, you probably won't put points into Weapons Training and vice versa, which means you're going to take points out. But the potential is there, so I'm going to leave that as is. Don't grill me on that, hopefully. I'm trying to determine if 3.5 is fair or 4 is fair. Sticker grenades do stagger. Avenger Strike does stagger with stun. 4. Defense, Bioelectric Ward, Stealth Grid, Stealth Dodge is going to be very good on this character. I'm even going to say it's 5. Health and Shields, what are your health and shields, mate? Average. Average? Slightly better than that. I'd say it's actually... It's 3.75, I reckon would be a fair score, but I don't want to do 0.25 increments, so I'm just going to leave it at 4. Movement, I'd say it's definitely 4. Difficulty, no, definitely not difficult to play. Salarian Operator. Oh, S+, definitely, I reckon. Wait, that's not it. That's not the Salarian Operator. Ah, yes, my Salarian Operator. Weapons, I don't think he has anything that increases weapons, but as I say that, I'm not putting that as 0 because Overload does stun enemies, and that does give you to have headshot potential, which is why I use the Crusader. Long and short range potential, good ammo, especially with the second one, really great for headshotting. If you can hit it off post, huh? Powers are really good. You got shield boost, you got overload for stun, and you got invasion for debuffing. I think 5 is a fair score. Cooldowns, I'm actually going to lower this because overload, while we'll have 9 seconds, shield boost is 11, invasion I think it's 11, 10, so it's not fast, but it's decent-ish. So I will lower that down, but they can get exponentially better because if you use power efficiency, that's going to work on all 3 of those. Debuffing is, I reckon I would say it's 5 to be honest. Tech sabotage along with stunning and that is great. Team support 5. Combo potential, not a lot. Overload is not a combo potential, so we're gonna put that as 2.5. Defense, shield boost is great. But that's it, it's just shield boost. You don't have something like damage reduction, do you? No. Oh, but you do have plus 25% power restoration in defense and plus 25%. So, we would say 3.5? Or 3? 3.5 sounds fair. Health and shields. How are your health and shields? Pretty decent. But the same as the Angarian Avenger. Yeah. We'll leave it as is. Movement, average. So average is good. Difficulty, I'll put this up at 3 because you need to watch your allies if you want a shield boost. You can't just mindlessly spam shield boost. Headshot potential, overload, and invasion. Yeah, I'd say 3 is a fair score for difficulty. Some people will disagree, that's fine. This is just my opinions, human kineticist. Ooh. Wait, this is the bottom one, right? Yes, it is. Human kineticist at IX. B. No, wait, wrong one, C. God damn it. There we go. Alright, I didn't put it in the... Yeah, which is why I didn't do. For XX, I reckon XX is... XX, huh? Yep, that's about it. I don't think she has a lot of weapon damage increase. Nope. I'm only putting it at 1 because almost everyone's gone. I won't say everyone. We're using combos will stagger, which means you do get some time to use weapons, but not a lot of increase in damage. I would actually almost put this at 0, but it just feels bad to do that, so I'll put it at 1. Power's 4, I reckon. Cooldown's definitely 5. Debuffing, you don't have any debuffs. You don't have any team support. You do have a lot of combo stagger potential though. Let's say you do have a lot of potential. Defense, you only have saving bear, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so a lot of people may like to use as biotic ascension in platinum. I actually do not. Believe it or not, I had a better time playing platinum without biotic ascension because I couldn't keep my shields. You do get 130 damage resistance, yes, but I prefer not to. But some people may take advantage of that 120 damage resistance. So that 130 damage resistance only applies to your shield, not health. And you're constantly draining your shields, and you really want saving barrier for platinum, so... 4. Now that's low health and shields. Movement, half as bad. Oh, difficulties out of 10. Crap. I kept doing difficulties out of 5, didn't I? Whoops. I'll just go and change these. I'll just have to double them basically. So it's 8.5. So I'm sorry, I'm gonna change this. I'm gonna have to double these scores to make it out of 10 instead of out of 5. Yes, just give me a moment, guys. Just give me a moment, guys. sorry for making you watch this, but it'll be very quick. Like, it'll be very quick. Don't worry. So is this 5? No, this is actually a normal out of 10 score. Alright, moving on. Whoops, sorry about that, everyone. Moving on. Krogan Gladiator. Krogan Gladiator I reckon is actually quite a tank. So I do have him at XI, and I think he's actually B tier. What's his XX? XS only increases melee damage, which actually is pretty significant, so I'd say it's B plus tier. Yeah. Yep. Because Annihilation, damage attractor, and I still got exposure, which means you're still hitting quite hard with your weapon and your melee attack at close range. I reckon he's actually B. Okay, I'm on the verge of putting him at B plus here and A here, to be honest. I actually might do that. Weapon! No weapon increase. But I think you do have Biotic Warrior, which is 15%, which is actually something warrant to mention. Powers! Annihilation is always on. Nova is pretty good to use, but it's not super good. Cooldowns. I'd say it's about 4. No, it's about 3.5. I lied. Debuff, you have quite a big debuffing potential with damage attractor and exposure, so that's really good. Team support. Inspirational. I don't use inspirational. I use the melee damage. Oh, okay. But you do have the option to go team support. I think 2.5 is a better score. Combo potential 4 is pretty good because you got Annihilation. Defense, you got. I do say Draining Field is pretty good. 3.5 or 4. Rage, you do get the Unstoppable, which is damage resistance. So I think 4 is actually pretty good. Health, I think this guy has like heaps of health and shields, right? Movement, he's a Krogan. He's not gonna have a lot of movement. Difficulty, I actually think he's about 8. I'd say 8's a fair score for him. Angarian Exemplar, whoa. Angarian Exemplar. Do you have him at 5? I think he's at B. Once he's XX, he's A tier. My opinion. So, it's all to do with really cards and unlocking him. He does have weapon feedback potential. But obviously it's going to take a while to lock that if you go with your passive, which most likely you will, and some team drain, which is really good for support. Weapons, you do have the potential, so 2.5, that is actually a pretty good score, in my opinion. Power, I think you do have 4, because it's really great. Cooldowns can be really short if you go with, not that one, with detonation feedback, it can go really short. And in general, he has a lot of power recharge abilities, like, recharge speeds here, and, pistol, expert package basically, sorry, it's gone off the tangent there. I'm trying to think, sorry. Debuff, I don't think he has any debuffing, does he? Oh, he has a lot of potential with electric zone, detonation, and chain detonation. It's not proper debuffing, so I'd say 2. Team support. Once you get him with electric barricade, that will be so helpful. Combo potential stagger, but defense. Bioelectric ward's really good. Yeah, I'd say 4 is a fair score. That's not a lot of health and shields. I'm gonna have to. So 3.5. Movement is about 3, I'd reckon. Movement. Sorry, I think my cat just ran over something. Movement's about 3. I'd say I won't say he's easy to play. I'd say he's kinda clear cut in terms of how to play. Now, this guy, the Batarian Vanguard, I don't have this character, but what I can do is draw conclusions based on my experience and my knowledge, basically. Batarian Vanguard, not Scrapper. Did I say Scrapper? So he has munitions training and combat fitness, I'm pretty sure. I think that's what he has, from what I remember. So basically, human soldier. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what he has. Munitions training and combat fitness. So he will have a lot of weapon damage potential with annihilation field and flat cannon for stunning. So I will say his weapon's actually pretty decent. It's actually 4. Powers, charge is really good. Annihilation field is really good. Flat cannon's really good. Oh, that's right, tier. So let's say at V, would be A. I think that's a fair score for him. At XX, I'd imagine he would be A+. Would he be? I think that's a fair score, to be honest. He's almost at S, but not quite at S because of his health and shields. Look at that shield, 182. That's the lowest base shields, I think, because even the human soldiers or base level 1s have the 260 shields. So it's really low. It's really low. Anyways, let's go back. Cooldown's charge will probably be at 6 seconds or 5 seconds. Annihilations wise, flat cannons on. So I'm thinking that's 4.5 will be good. Debuff, you do have annihilation field with that exposure or damage attractor, but you don't have. You might have sustained fire. You might pick up sustained fire. So I think it has the potential. Team support, annihilation. He doesn't have anything to restore shields on everyone. Or no, so he doesn't have a lot of team support. Stagger's 5. It's really good. You got annihilation for the vortex as well. Defense, so you'd have defensive positioning and hold the line, but that's really it. So I think that's a 3. Health and shields is low. That's really low. I'm gonna put him at 2.5 to be honest. Movement is about average, 2.5. Difficulty, 6.5 sounds fair to be honest. I know I don't have a lot of characters below that, but you know, all characters take some skill to play. Anyways, yeah, that's really it for my platinum character tier list. This obviously will just be put into a graph. This is what you'll see, and the link will be on that character. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. That's it for this video, and I hope to see you guys next time. See ya!